Foundation and Empire, the second novel in Isaac Asimov's original Foundation trilogy, continues the grand narrative of Hari Seldon's psycho-historical plan to guide humanity through a predicted period of barbarism and towards a second galactic empire. The novel is structurally divided into two distinct but thematically linked parts, the General and the Mule, each presenting a unique challenge to the Foundation's carefully orchestrated destiny. Part 1. The General. The first part, The General, sets the stage in the vast and crumbling galactic empire, now in its twilight years. Asimov masterfully portrays the empire's slow, inexorable decline, a process foreseen by the brilliant psychohistorian Hari Seldon centuries prior. Seldon, understanding the inevitability of the empire's collapse and the ensuing Dark Age, established two foundations. The first foundation, initially a scholarly endeavor on the remote planet Terminus, dedicated to compiling the Encyclopaedia Galactica, and the enigmatic Second Foundation, whose location and purpose remain largely unknown. The first foundation's true purpose, however, was to act as a catalyst, using advanced technology and economic acumen to shorten the impending interregnum of barbarism from 30,000 years to a mere millennium, thereby accelerating the emergence of a second galactic empire. 2 centuries into Seldon's meticulously crafted plan, the first foundation has flourished, evolving from a scientific outpost into a formidable economic and political power in the periphery. Their advanced nuclear technology, a relic from the height of the empire, gives them an insurmountable advantage, which they wield not through overt military conquest but through shrewd economic warfare and the strategic manipulation of lesser kingdoms on the galactic rim. They have effectively established a commercial empire, with their religion of science serving as a thinly veiled tool for cultural and technological dominance. The tranquility of the Foundation's preordained path is shattered by the emergence of Bel Rios, a charismatic and highly competent imperial general. Rios, stationed on the border world of Siwina, embodies the last vestiges of imperial vigor and ambition. He is a soldier of remarkable strategic brilliance, a stark contrast to the often decadent and ineffective imperial bureaucracy. Intrigued by persistent rumors of magicians from the periphery, the Foundationers, whose advanced technology borders on the miraculous to the technologically regressed imperial citizens, Rios sees an opportunity for personal glory and to revitalize the waning empire. He believes that by conquering this mysterious entity, he can achieve a legendary status and secure the empire's future. Rios's initial investigations lead him to Dusum Bar, a patrician and historian from Siwina. Bar, a man deeply steeped in the history of the empire and aware of the Seldon plan, confirms the Foundation's existence and their extraordinary technological superiority, exemplified by personal force shield generators that render conventional weaponry useless. Bar, however, also tries to subtly warn Rios about the true nature of the Foundation and the predictive power of psychohistory, suggesting that any attempt to thwart Seldon's plan is doomed to fail. Rios, blinded by ambition and dismissive of the notion of predestined decline, interprets Bar's warnings as superstitious ramblings, convinced that his military prowess can overcome any historical inevitability. He views the Foundation as a prime target, ripe for conquest and a means to elevate his standing within the empire. Within the Foundation, its leaders are not oblivious to Rios's movements. Their sophisticated intelligence network, coupled with the inherent predictability of large-scale historical trends, alerts them to the impending conflict. Senate Forel, a descendant of the first Foundation's legendary merchant prince Hober Mallow, plays a crucial role in assessing the threat. After capturing an Imperial scout ship, the Foundation leadership realizes the gravity of the situation. This is not a typical Seldon crisis that can be resolved through economic leverage or by exploiting internal rivalries among the barbarian kingdoms. Rios represents a different kind of challenge, a genuinely capable and determined adversary who poses a direct military threat. The Foundationers, accustomed to winning their crises through economic and psychological means, find themselves in uncharted territory, feeling a distinct lack of a strong, decisive leader like Salvar Hardin or Hober Mallow to navigate this new paradigm. As Rios's campaign against the Foundation unfolds, he achieves a series of remarkable successes, highlighting his exceptional military acumen. His victories chip away at the Foundation's perceived invincibility, creating unease and even panic among its citizens. However, Bar, now a reluctant but essential part of Rios's retinue, observes a deeper, more insidious aspect of the general's triumphs. He understands that Rios's very success is, paradoxically, a product of Seldon's plan. Psychohistory, in its grand design, predicted that a strong general, if too successful, would inevitably pose a threat to the reigning emperor. This inherent tension within the imperial structure would lead to the general's downfall, orchestrated by the Emperor himself out of fear and suspicion. Rios, by becoming too powerful, inadvertently seals his own fate, fitting perfectly into the Selden plan's mechanisms for neutralizing potential threats to the Foundation without direct intervention. Ultimately, Rios is recalled to Trantor, the imperial capital, on charges of treason. Despite his loyal service and impressive victories, the Emperor, paranoid about Rios's growing influence, sees him as a usurper. Rios and Bar are arrested and executed, and the imperial fleet is scattered, its grand offensive against the Foundation ending abruptly and without a decisive battle. The Foundation, having weathered the storm, realizes that the crisis resolved itself not through their direct military action, but through the internal dynamics of the decaying empire, precisely as Selden's psychohistory had foretold. The general crisis reaffirms the predictive power of the Selden plan, demonstrating its resilience even against formidable individual wills. Part 2. The Mule. The second and arguably more pivotal part of the novel introduces a revolutionary and unforeseen element into the meticulously laid Selden plan, the Mule. This section plunges the Foundation and the wider galaxy into an unprecedented crisis, one that defies the deterministic predictions of psychohistory. The Mule is a powerful mutant, a unique individual born with the extraordinary ability to manipulate emotions, capable of subtly altering the will and loyalty of anyone he encounters. His true nature, physical appearance, and the extent of his powers are initially shrouded in mystery, creating an atmosphere of dread and uncertainty throughout the narrative. The story shifts focus to a new set of characters: Beta Daryl, a resourceful and determined young Foundationer, and her husband Toron Daryl, a relatively ordinary citizen. They become central figures in the desperate struggle against the Mule. Joining them is Ebeling Miz, a brilliant but eccentric psychologist, whose keen intellect and understanding of Selden's principles make him a crucial, albeit tragic, character in the search for a solution to the Mule's unprecedented threat. Together, they embark on a perilous quest to find the fabled Second Foundation, believing it to be the only entity capable of counteracting the Mule's unique mental powers and restoring the Selden plan. The Mule's conquests are swift and devastating. He sweeps through the periphery, overwhelming the First Foundation's previously impregnable defenses with alarming ease. His victories are not achieved through conventional military might, but through his terrifying mental influence. He bypasses the Foundation's advanced technology and economic strategies by directly manipulating the emotions of its leaders and military personnel, turning staunch loyalty into fervent devotion, and defiant resistance into passive submission. His power is subtle yet absolute, capable of instilling unwavering loyalty in his enemies and eroding the will to fight. He is described not as a physical giant but as an ordinary-looking man, belying his immense mental capabilities, which are often referred to as the greatest brain in the galaxy. This mental prowess allows him to build a vast empire in a remarkably short time, an empire founded on emotional manipulation rather than traditional conquest. The Mule's ability to bend minds and wills shatters the fundamental premise of psychohistory. Selden's science relies on statistical analysis of large populations, predicting the behavior of humanity in the aggregate. It does not account for the emergence of a single individual with the power to disrupt the emotional and mental equilibrium of entire societies. The Mule is a wild card, an anomaly that the Selden plan, in its deterministic grandeur, simply did not foresee. This makes him the most dangerous adversary the Foundation has ever faced, as their established methods of crisis resolution are utterly ineffective against him. The search for the Second Foundation leads Beta, Toron, and Ebeling Miz across the galaxy, to various worlds, each holding a piece of the puzzle. Their journey is fraught with danger and moral dilemmas. They encounter individuals whose minds have been converted by the Mule, stripped of their original personalities and imbued with unwavering loyalty to him. These encounters highlight the terrifying nature of the Mule's power, as it is not merely persuasion but a fundamental alteration of the psyche. A crucial leg of their journey takes them to the desolate and ancient ruins of Trantor, the former capital of the Galactic Empire. Once a gleaming ecumenopolis of billions, Trantor is now a decaying husk, its vast surface covered in rust and ruin, save for a small, heavily fortified area where the Imperial Library still stands. Ebeling Miz, believing that the key to defeating the Mule lies within the comprehensive records of Selden's psychohistory, dedicates himself to tirelessly sifting through the immense archives of the Imperial Library. He hopes to uncover the exact location and nature of the Second Foundation, convinced that it was designed by Selden as the ultimate safeguard against unforeseen disruptions to the plan, specifically powerful mentalics like the Mule. As Ebeling Miz delves deeper into the intricacies of Selden's work, the tension escalates. He slowly begins to piece together the fragments of information, nearing the profound revelation. He theorizes that the Second Foundation is not a place of physical scientists or merchants, but a world of mental scientists, individuals trained in the subtle arts of psychohistory and mental manipulation, capable of influencing minds on a large scale. This would make them the only force in the galaxy capable of countering the Mule's powers. The climax of this part arrives when Ebeling Miss finally discovers the precise location of the Second Foundation and the full extent of the Mule's powers. However, before he can fully articulate his findings, the Mule, having tracked them down, makes his dramatic appearance. The revelation of the Mule's true identity is a shocking twist. He is Magnifico Giganticus, the unassuming and seemingly harmless clown who had been traveling with Beta and Toron, using his non-threatening demeanor as a perfect disguise. This sudden reveal underscores the Mule's cunning and his ability to blend seamlessly into his enemy's midst. In a moment of desperate brilliance, Beta, having observed the Mule's vulnerabilities and his dependence on others for physical support, makes a profound realization. She understands that despite his immense mental power, the Mule is still a human being, with a need for connection and a susceptibility to certain emotions, even those he manipulates in others. In a poignant and emotionally charged confrontation, Beta confronts the Mule. Instead of trying to fight him with physical force or logic, she appeals to his inherent humanity and his deeply hidden loneliness. She subtly manipulates his emotions, not with his own power, but with genuine compassion, temporarily subduing him and allowing them a brief respite. The novel concludes with the Mule, despite his immense mental power and his vast, rapidly expanding empire, acknowledging the existence of the Second Foundation as his ultimate adversary. He understands that his dominion, built on mental manipulation, is fundamentally unstable and cannot withstand the long-term, subtle interventions of the Second Foundation's mental scientists. He recognizes that his reign is destined to be short-lived, an anomaly that the Selden Plan, in its grand, long-term vision, will eventually correct. The exact location of the Second Foundation remains a secret, its role as the ultimate, unseen protector of Selden's plan powerfully reinforced. They are poised to ultimately defeat the Mule, guide the galaxy back to the predetermined path of the Second Empire, and ensure the fulfillment of Hari Seldon's vision, even in the face of unforeseen threats. Foundation and Empire is a pivotal work in the Foundation series, demonstrating the resilience and adaptability of Seldon's psychohistory. It explores themes of determinism versus free will, the nature of power, and the profound impact of individual genius on the course of history. The introduction of the Mule provides a critical challenge to the seemingly infallible Selden plan, forcing the Foundation to confront an enemy unlike any they had anticipated and highlighting the complex interplay between foresight and the unpredictable forces of individual agency.